Okay, I'm going to go over some problems on page 177, lines that are parallel and lines that are perpendicular. If the lines are parallel, you just figure out the slopes and they would have the same slope numbers. If lines are perpendicular, the slopes would have to be opposite reciprocals. Opposite means positive, 1 being negative, 2/3, 3/2. I'm going to start with number 1 here, and I had to redraw it here, but it basically says in the directions, are lines 1 and line 2, denoted with the cursive 1 and the cursive 2, are they parallel? And explain. Now when it's parallel, it's kind of easy to tell just by looking at the picture and deciding are these lines parallel or not. But what you really got to do is just count the slope. If you look carefully at both of these problems, you will see highlighted points here. And I'll start with line 1 down here. To figure out the slope, first of all, this is negative. They're both negatives because they're falling. Slope is rise over run. So what I'm going to do is count from this slope to get to this slope. I go up 1, 2, 3. Then I go across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the slope of this guy is 3 up, 6 across in a negative direction. Slope of line 2 is from this point to this point, it's up 1, 2, across 1, 2, 3, 4 in a negative direction. So it's negative 2 up, 4 across. Now, are they parallel lines? Well, yes, because 3/6 reduces down to 1/2, and 2/4 reduces down to 1/2. These are the same slope numbers. That's why these lines are parallel. If they ask you to explain it, just say yes, they are parallel. 1/2 is equal to negative 1/2. Or maybe it's not parallel. You could say negative 1/2 is not equal to 3/4. Not equal to. Okay? Okay, moving on to problems 6 through 11. I'm actually going to do number 8. Basically, they're going to say, are these lines parallel? They give you the 2 equations. They don't give you a graph. All you got to do is figure out the slope number. And if y is by itself, the slope number is always the number that is multiplied with the x value. But you got to get y by itself. So for this first equation, the slope number is -1. For the second one here, because y is not by itself, don't say that the slope is this number here. We got to first move this x over to the other side. Y is equal to negative x plus 20. The 20 doesn't even matter. The slope here is -1. So are these 2 equations parallel? You would say yes, because -1 is equal to -1. That's the slope number. Okay, number 12 here. It says write the equation for the line parallel to line AB and contains point C. So what they're asking is a little bit confusing at first. What they're saying here is there's some line AB here, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball graph here. You don't have to graph it, but there's a line AB here. We're not going to try to figure out the equation of this line because we already know it's y is equal to -2x plus 1. What we want to do is figure out the line that passes through point C, 0, 3 up. So somewhere here, there's point C, and yet you're parallel to this other line AB. So I'm just going to eyeball that. What is the equation of this line here in pink? That's what we're going to try to figure out. Whoops. Y is equal to mx plus b. All right. Well, when you're trying to figure out this new line, y is equal to mx plus b, you need the slope number. Well, since these 2 lines are parallel, they'd have to have the same slope. This black line, AB, is slope of -2, so that is going to go right here, -2 plus b. I need to know where it crosses the y-axis. It passes through point C. This is an x value. This is a y value. You just plug in the 0 where the x is, the 3 where the y is, and then that will help solve for b. So instead of y, it's going to be 3. -2 is the slope. X is going to be 0 plus b. This is actually 0 here. So b is 3. So I can put this entire equation together. Y is equal to -2x plus 3. Whoops. That's a horrible 3, but a 3. So this equation is y is equal to -2x plus 3. Okay, moving on to number 16 here. It says, are lines 1 and lines 2 perpendicular? Explain using the slopes. You've got graph paper here. It kind of looks like it's 90 degrees, but you don't want to just guess that maybe it's 90 degrees. You're going to figure out the slope. So here's line 1. We're going to figure out the slope right now. The slope looks like it's falling down in a negative direction. And from this point to this point, it is 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3, 4 across. 2 over 4, which is negative 1 over 2. Line 2 is going to be, again, I'm highlighting 2 bullet points there. This is a positive slope. It's going upwards. It goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across 1, 2, 3. 6 over 3, which is the same as positive 2. This slope, negative 1/2. This slope, positive 2. These are opposites because one's positive, one's negative. Reciprocals. Reciprocal, of course, means one is 1/2, the other is 2 over 1. So these are perpendicular lines. So it's not about it just looking like it's 90 degrees. This one flat out is because of opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay, moving on to number 23 here. It says write an equation for the line perpendicular to line MN and contains point P. Let me get this in focus there. So what they're really asking here is, there's this line MN. Here's point P, 6, 6. And we're trying to figure out the equation of a line that's perpendicular to it, not parallel. So it would be, and I'm just eyeballing this. This is not an accurate thing, but I mean, it looks something like this. So what's the equation? What is the y is equal to mx plus b on this guy in pink? All right, so all equations need to be in this form of y is equal to mx plus b. If it's meant to be perpendicular to line MN, these two lines would have opposite reciprocal slopes. MN has a slope of positive 2 over 3, so this slope is going to be the opposite, which means negative, reciprocal, 3 over 2. So opposite reciprocal. That would make this pink line perpendicular. And then it does pass through point 6, 6. So this, of course, is an x value, that's a y value, so we're going to put a 6 and a 6 in its place. So we're going to put a 6 for the y is, the slope is the opposite reciprocal, so it's negative 3 over 2. X value is going to be 6, and our job is to figure out, well, where would it cross the y-axis? It looks like it's pretty high up here on my little fake graph here. So let's take a look-see here. Multiplying a fraction times 6, you just multiply tops. 3 times 6, that's 18 over 2. 18 over 2 is 9, negative 9, excuse me. We'll add 9 to both sides. It's 15. Excuse me. So my equation now is y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 15. So if I had drawn this graph would hit way off the graph somewhere here at 15.